Hello everyone, I'm Maiko Yoshioka from Japan. I'm just graduated from Graduate School of Psychology of JF Oberlin University. Today I am going to present my research, Efficacy of Coaching Program for Artists. Let me begin by providing some background to this research. I think most of you still vividly remember that the global pandemic of COVID-19. UNESCO estimates that 10 million people globally have lost their jobs in artistic and cultural industries due to the pandemic. In Japan, the number of suicide among entertainers and professional athletes reached an all-time high in 2020 since National Police Agency began keeping records. Furthermore, a survey conducted by the Agency for Cultural Affairs Government of Japan in 2020 revealed the severe impact on those involved in cultural and artistic activities. For example, 40.1% experienced zero income from cultural and artistic activities between March and August 2020. And the survey showed that 28.9% of people worked in artistic activities expressed anxiety about their situation. The experiences during COVID-19 have once again highlighted the vulnerability of artists. The following are the typical vulnerabilities identified in previous researches. Critiqued based upon the subjective evaluation. Success and opportunities can often come down to personal preferences of decision makers. The growing risk of slander and cyberbullying with the rise of social media. Weak positions and unstable economical circumstances as freelancers. Competitive milieu. It means that competitive experience of artists begin at the earliest level continues throughout their career. Effort does not pay off with the predictable success this field. And of course, artists struggle with many kinds of pressures as Saint Chan categorized pressure of musician. For example, the pressures to be creative and original. The pressure created by performance anxiety, dealing with identity issues. In addition, before developing program, I interviewed 10 artists who has worked as professional more than 10 years. Due to the limit of time, I don't explain about the survey today, but we derived that to express what one truly wants to express without being swayed by external evaluation is key point for artists to maintain psychological health while continuing their activities. So, purpose of the research is that developing a coaching program specialized for artists and verify the effectiveness of that program, which will support them in addressing their vulnerabilities and aim to prevent artists from being unable to perform due to mental health issues. I made a program separated into 3 sections based upon the vulnerabilities of artists. 1. Coaching for values clarification. 2. Proactive coping with pressure and anxiety which artists will face in their career. 3. Psychoeducation to protect themselves from slander or criticism based upon subjective evaluation. Now I'd like to move on to examine the contents of each section. I quoted an actor's words from the book of Hayes and Brown. He said, actors experience their careers as a lottery. Depends on luck. It means that common coaching method of goal setting isn't much for artists. For example, many young musicians eager to sign with major label, but this kind of goal is hard to accomplish. If none of goals have been attained, he or she might learn helplessness. Furthermore, to express what artists truly want, we put values clarification at the first section of the coaching program instead of using goal setting. Concerning coaching method that clarify values, I drew inspiration from the core model of acceptance and commitment therapy. Specifically, the concept of mindful living in accordance with values In practice, this involves helping artists identify what they want to do in their career and how they want to be through a series of questions from a coach. Once these aspects are clarified, we condense them into a one-phrase statement that continuously guides artist's life. Next, I incorporated the idea of committed action of ACT to help artists set goals linked to their values. We practice how to ensure these goals remain true to their values, avoiding superficial or non-essential goals. To do this, following ACT guidelines by making sure that the values identified as consistent, comprehensive, and desirable actions. In belief, the goals should not set about the things such as sales, numbers, or hours. Additionally, we made it clear that the goals are adjustable and can change regardless of whether they have achieved or not. An artist's life is often fraught with adversity. In a protective coping approach, we encourage artists to anticipate potential stressors they might face and prepare methods to address them. We drew inspiration from Aspinwall's 5-stage model. Specifically, we first help artists recognize their stress patterns, enabling them to quickly identify when they are experiencing or about to experience stress. We then ask them to envision potential future crises. Using a matrix that combines Lazarus and Folksman's problem-focused and emotion-focused coping with Nagamine's cognitive and behavioral efforts, we prepared a stepped approach to coping strategies from 1 to 4. Artists are exposed to criticism more frequently than the general public, which is why we believe it essential to not only change how they perceive criticism, but also work on reducing the amount of criticism they receive. Harsh critics or slander can often trigger mental health issues for artists. Therefore, in this psychoeducation section, at first, using the ABCD model from cognitive behavioral coaching, we teach method for managing unavoidable criticism and critics. By adjusting their reactions and perceptions, artists are able to learn ways to prevent such feedback from negatively impacting their work. Second, drawing from Pichin's and others' social skill training approach to criticism, we conducted SST on classifying criticism, helping artists develop a habit of not taking all criticism at face value. Coaching program for artists, now we call it CPA, aims to prevent artists from facing mental health issues by intervening early. Therefore, we conducted an intervention study on young artists who have no mental health disorders and are about to begin full-scale activities. Participants are young artists aged 18 to 24 who are undergoing training to be professional or have started working within the past 3 years. Flyers were distributed to art university students or recommendations were received from theater company staff regarding trainees. Method is the intervention group received 4 times CPA sessions, an hour per session, from the researcher, me, while the control group completed 4 self-coaching sessions using worksheet based on the GROW model. Here is a list of the assessment scales. The intervention procedure for CPA is like this. Please take a glance at the figure. Since self-coaching based on GROW model, we put these themes of goal, reality, options, will separated into 4 times worksheet sessions. Session 1. Write down the goals coaches want to challenge in their field and check current progress. Session 2. List what they have accomplished and what they have yet accomplished. Session 3. Write down what they can do to achieve their goals. Session 4. Choose one and decide when and how to start. Sessions are controlled to hold almost one time a week. We conducted intervention evaluation surveys using scales for both the groups at the initial and final sessions. This allowed us to compare pre and post. Additionally, we measured mood as a check-in and check-out procedure at each session. After all interventions have ended, we did a satisfaction survey. Next, I'll report on the result of our research. From the pool of volunteers for our study, we divided participants equally based on their majors and assigned them to either the intervention or control group on a first-come, first-served basis. The resulting composition was as follows. The two-dimensional mood scale is a tool used to measure how mood change pre and post each coaching session to determine whether there was a significant improvement in the 4 indicators: vitality, stability, pleasure, and arousal. After the intervention, we conducted a paired t-test or Wilcoxon signed rank test at the 5% significance level. As a result, in the intervention group, the change in vitality, stability, and pleasure significantly improved after the intervention. While in the control group, vitality showed a significant improvement. To determine if the difference in mood changes between the two groups was statistically significant, we conducted Mann-Whitney U-test or independent t-test at the 5% significance level. Among the 4 indicators measurable by the two-dimensional mood scale, we found significant differences in vitality and pleasure levels between the groups. For both indicators, the intervention group showed greater changes compared to the control group. The Proactive Coping Competence Scale Japanese version is a translation of the Utrecht Proactive Coping Competence Scale developed by Nagamine and others. It consists of 21 items across 4 factors: realistic goal setting, use of feedback, future appraisal, and use of resources. To determine if there were significant differences in the change between the intervention group and the control group pre and post the intervention, we conducted an independent t-test on the change scores for the 4 factors at the 5 significance level. The result shows that for 3 factors, realistic goal setting, use of feedback, and use of resources, the change in the coaching intervention group was significantly greater than that in the self-coaching control group, with large effect size observed. According to previous research, enhancing artists' intrinsic motivation may contribute to creativity. So we used a scale developed by Nishimura and others, reliable Japanese motivation scale, to measure the effects of coaching. This scale consists of 4 factors: intrinsic, identified, introjected, and external regulations, with a total of 20 items. To analyze the pre and post changes of 4 factors between 2 groups, we conducted independent t-test or Mann-Whitney U-test at the 5% significance level. However, no significant differences were observed for any of the factors. Additionally, we found a widespread ceiling effect in 10 items across 2 factors representing autonomous regulations. To determine whether anxiety regarding negative evaluation from others changed in the intervention and control groups pre and post the study, we conducted repeated measures ANOVA with 5% significance level. The result shows a significant mean effect for time, indicating a significant difference between pre and post intervention. However, there was no significant main effect for group and no significant interaction effect was observed. The sense of authenticity scale measures one's sense of true self, Participants responded to 7 items on the 5-point scale, including statements like, I can always be myself, and I have something that makes me feel truly myself. To examine differences in authenticity between the intervention and control groups pre and post the study, we conducted a 2-way repeated measures ANOVA with a 5% significance level. No significant differences were found. Now I'm going to summarize the results. Indicators which show significant difference are vitality and pleasure in the 2-dimensional mood scale, realistic goal setting, use of feedback, use of resources in the proactive coping competence scale. The other indicators shows no significant difference. The indicators which revealed widespread ceiling effects are autonomous motivation scale, fear of negative evaluation scale, and sense of authenticity scale showed similar trends between the 2 groups. When we look at the free-form description of satisfaction survey, 7 participants of CPA chose Coaching for Values Clarification as the best program. Pick up some of these. The second participant said that by clarifying my values, I have become clear about what I want to do and what I aim to achieve. Another one said, 6 participants said that there were times when things didn't go as planned, and I lost sight of why I was working in this industry and where I was heading. However, through this coaching, I learned the importance of always remembering the person I want to be and my core values. Now we come to discussion. Based on these research findings, the effect of CPA can be suggested as follows. 1. CPA enhances motivation and makes it easier to take actions. In terms of vitality and pleasure indicators on the TDMS, the change in the intervention group was significantly greater than that in the control group. It means that participants changed more energetic to the activities. 2. CPA promotes psychological readiness for potential future adversities. According to the result of the PCCJ, in 3 out of the 4 factors scored significantly higher with large effect size observed. When comparing the pre- and post-intervention mean scores of realistic goal-setting factors between the 2 groups, the intervention group showed an increase, whereas the control group experienced a decrease. In the control group, the GROW model was employed, focusing on setting goals, creating plans, and taking action to achieve those goals. In contrast, in the CPA model, participants set goals not as fixed endpoints but as tools to manifest their personal values. Under this approach, if a goal is not progressing well, participants are encouraged to reset new goal. The same trends can be observed in use of feedback as well. Only intervention group showed an increasing of score at post-intervention, though there are 2 subscales like learn from setbacks, see the positive sides to failure, which can be interpreted as resilience. So these results suggest that the coaching intervention group was better prepared mentally for potential adversities and pressures that may arise in future. 3. Young artists generally have high levels of intrinsic motivation. In both control and intervention groups, more than 90% of items showed ceiling effect in autonomous regulation. Given the participants just have chosen an artistic path over conventional careers, their high intrinsic motivation seems natural. 4. Coaching itself has the effect of diminishing the fear of negative evaluations, allowing artists to be more true to themselves. Although no significant differences were found in the FNE and the authenticity scales, both scales showed improvement due to the intervention. This suggests that coaching itself may have an effect of reducing fear of negative evaluation and enabling individuals to be more authentic. 5. By clarifying values of CPA, they gained a clear understanding of what they really want to express. As a result, a foundation has been established that allows young artists to continue their activities without being swayed by criticism from others. This is conclusion. A coaching program for artists aims to help them clarify their values, allowing them to set adjustable goals that align with their values. This approach uses values as a compass for their artistic life, helping artists address pressure and anxiety, especially about the future. The program also embraces the vulnerability of artists, fostering increased motivation and resilience. Finally, we must consider the limitation of this research. Due to the limitation of time, we only did 4 times coaching and couldn't conduct follow-up study. Since the program separated 3 sections, we can't exactly know which section made which result. And this is the references. I appreciate your time and interest in this research. Thank you very much.